Uduasha city, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow. 800 years ago, the gates of death were broken by the Emperor Immortal. The five key bearers, however, had already unlocked them and walked right through. It is in Uduasha city they dwell. Now, the ghost field breathes next to our reality, lit by the eternal flame of the well of Udu. It is a second skin, a place where thought and will struggle against gravity and light. In other places, the dead congregate in the ghost field, but in Uduasha, the well city, the hell city, they fall straight into the flames. See its glittering districts: Kshitijpur, where the rich plot to buy the horizon; Bunda West, where the refugees of two different nations flock; and Pasarhandu, the vertical maze of market and murder. And here is Udepat, where the ceaseless temple resides. Its inhabitants, a family, a snake, and a god. The temple has stood since before the gods of this world were forgotten. Watch as it turns the wheels of revolution. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about people who take risks so they can survive against the odds.
Last time on Desperate Attune, the crew put their plan to steal tools for Hardil into motion. They were to steal a carriage from the Udiput Development and Restoration Commission, drive in as legitimate buyers, take the tools, and leave behind a check signed by Hardil as payment. We open with Freya and Joan trying to sneak into the commission compound, with Vickers and her roof ballers keeping watch from a nearby rooftop and a bus station around the corner. There was an immediate problem. At that very moment, Imperial Inspector Constance Constable was trying to gain entry to the compound to investigate their connection to the temple and, in turn, to Freya. Luckily, Lieutenant Constable didn't recognize Freya behind her magnificent fake mustache, but the scene at the gates made it near impossible for Freya to get in. The compound foreman was refusing to let the constable in despite her search warrant, and the two were locked in a heated argument. Freya and Joan could have subtly followed in Constable's wake if she could gain access, but the inspector was frustratingly disciplined, and she refused to use her wide-ranging powers to force entry. So, Abbas, the Iruvian nationalist, urged an imperial officer to take a much more authoritarian approach against Iruvian labor. It worked only too well, and the lieutenant threatened to place everyone in the compound under arrest, effectively placing it under lockdown. Thinking quickly, Vickers threw down a roof ball to distract the officer. Constable knew that the temple and Freya were connected to a roof ball team, and she was tempted to pursue the new lead. Her mind was made up when Freya conjured up a roof ball man who taunted her with calls of "Come on and slam, welcome to the jam," and she took off in hot pursuit of the roof balling miscreant. With the compound in disarray, Freya, Joan, and Abbas easily strolled in, picked up a six-legged transport golem, and rode towards the Imperial Quarter in style. On the way, they realized that the golem was keeping a log of his movements. To avoid being tracked, the crew attuned to the golem and gave the thing amnesia. As they were fiddling around with his memories, the crew realized that the golems were kind of like people, and they gained a deep satisfaction from doing their jobs. To give the golem a deserved treat, the crew took it for a joyride around town, stopping at a tea house on the way for a nice break. Meanwhile, Vickers and the roof ballers were waiting at the rail station. Disguising themselves as ordinary workers wasn't good enough for Augustus Khan, the team's showman, and they put on an impromptu mime show for good measure. And now, in the aftermath of afternoon tea and street theater, we pick up the rest of the story.
I think that what ends up happening is that you put on a performance of something that nobody can quite tell what it is, but you manage to put on something that is like, oh, it's just another of these street theater buskers, they're everywhere, this kind of thing. And it kind of just gets I think you get a little bit of a crowd, and I think when you finish, it's like, oh yeah, whatever, but they're not really doing an encore.
So what we are putting on, by the way, is I am putting on one of Abbas's lectures, because it's the only thing I know about Udashan culture, but in the form of mime.
Wow.
So it will be very, very incomprehensible what is going on. There is a lot of imitating snakes.
Abbas, is there any way I can get you to tell me what lecture that they are acting up?
I think it must be some sort of fable or moral story,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
that we are acting out. Yeah.
Okay, what would be funny to act out? I don't know, some kind of snake charmer thing. The perils of even the wisest snake can be charmed by with people with ill intentions, and this allegory has something to do with snake charmers, and that's what you're acting out.
Yes,
Yes.
perfect. So
Yeah.
Augustus Khan has volunteered himself for the role as the snake charmer, and then he is like attempting to wow and dazzle the audience, while the rest of the crew, I think it's Socks, is playing the snake just because she likes crawling around on the ground and being weird.
Excellent.
That's what's going on. It will be completely incomprehensible to any onlookers because we're not like, this may be a famous fable, but we're not even remotely good enough to convey what is going on here.
I think you get, in fact, at least a couple of like bored students who are for some reason hanging about in this part of town, like making fun of you as more and more things happen, and they're actually pretty entertained because nothing of this makes sense, which is great. I am curious, like, so how have you? And I asked this question earlier. But I think now is the time. When you get into the railway station, because at some point now I think you are going to, how did you arrange to make sure that you weren't gonna get stopped?
There's a railway worker there who will lead us inside, and they have a bit of a green glint in their eyes because in a flashback I hypnotized.
Excellent, very good. What was and in fact this is actually good in that like we can just say that like you can pay the stress cost, which is the flashback cost, right? And then we don't have to worry too much about but it is push yourself, so it would be nice if you got the push yourself bonus, right?
Yes.
I think it should be a roll.
Okay, so the way that I'm imagining this is that it's not how well it goes, but like how much independence this person retains, or are they just like so specifically following the orders you've given them that like if something goes wrong, they will not know how to deal with it?
I want to point out too that we're here to officially buy stuff, so it's not like we need to overly sneak, but hypnotizing this person is still helpful. It's just, once we're inside, we can just move around because we're representing a legitimate
that's
company.
what you claim anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, it's a score. There's nothing wrong with obstacles and having to do things.
Absolutely not.
No, I agree.
To not lose track of
yeah.
what we're doing, right? We're not breaking in to steal things at this moment.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you reckon you're rolling sway, Joan?
Good. I was reckoning I would roll proud because I would have had to have access to this.
Yes, very good. Ambush with close violence, and in this case, the violence is words. Excellent. Yeah, absolutely roll prowl. And I think controlled standard. I mean, this is like your home territory. I think like you are in a very good position. Yeah, so I think controlled standard.
All right, then I'll roll it.
Oh my god, a 3, a 1, and a 3.
Well,
I think that you first run in to 2 people making out, which is fine, but it does mean that you can't like ambush one of them. And then you run into an old friend who like recognizes you, and then you have to make your excuses. And by then, it's been like a couple of hours. With a controlled consequence, you can retry from a risky position, or you can retry with a different approach.
Yes, I think I want to retry. Probably from a risky position.
Sure. And I think then in that case, the risky consequence here is that, the person you find may not be the ideal person to do this for whatever reason. And like, we'll see how that goes.
I think it should just be the 2 people making out.
If that's what Joan wants, I'm not going to stop her.
That way you get 2 people.
You can't see me do this, but I definitely mouthed like a lot of things and then know what's came out. I have no mouth and I must.
Right.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, I'm going to like try in this case to get one of them.
Okay.
Would you like an assist this time?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna assist. This puts me at 2 stress close to traumaing out, but that's fine. I'm also there, right? And I don't know. I guess I come up to one of them and say, "Oh my God! Someone fell into the well."
Yeah, makes sense. And
yes. I don't know. I get in there. I distract.
I will also say that like you're at standard effect. If you want it to be at great effect, I think great effect you can get both somehow. Like you get this person and then like come back, and then while they're being like distracted by Freya, you can get the other one as well. But
yeah, now that they're distracted in a path, I can like kind of sneakily get both of them without the other noticing.
Yeah, you know
or
what?
at least-
Instead of going in and yelling something about a well, I will do the thing that will stop any makeouts from continuing, which is I will go there and be a mime.
that
That will
does
I
conclude
have
most
started a
makeouts.
terrible trend.
I don't even. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yes. I guess we just get this image of you trying to mime something to them, like, and then they just stop. The both of them.
Oh, no, I'm actually
Okay,
good at
great.
this.
But even then, they are so baffled by what is going on.
Is Freya mockingly imitating their
Yeah.
makeout
Oh my
session?
god. Yeah. Indeed.
No, I'm a little man in a box.
Of course. Well, let's see this
Okay.
roll in that case.
You're doing this in a
Yeah.
flashback, right? So this
Yes.
is before the score.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I want to imagine Freya did this with the fake mustache on anyway, having
Yes, of
prepared
course.
for the score.
She's actually been wearing the fake mustache for the last like 4 weeks. Oh, this is much better roll.
Yes.
A 4, a 1, a 4, and a 6.
Okay.
Much
And
better.
it was the assist die, really it was. So I guess it was the miming that like I think the miming was so like completely baffling, but also like strangely entrancing. One of them like genuinely stops and looks at the other and says, "Wait a second," and then like walks towards you, Freya, and like that's your moment. And I think Joan, you can take that moment to kind of like give her the instruction, and then you can give the other one a different instruction when they turn around. It's like one of those really cool Dishonored moments, right? Where it's like you do two things, but then nobody ever saw you.
It's a bit less cool than a Dishonored moment because over the shoulder we can see
Well,
someone miming.
You are not wrong. Great. Okay. So I guess we see the two of them. I guess we see one of them. The one who was entranced by you. They were like very like much more willing to do like some of the legwork and stuff. So like they let you in and they kind of like look at you and say, you know, like we've kind of made sure that like nobody's gonna bother you. And then looks around and says, "Hey, is that mime around? You think like she'd do another show?"
No, she died.
Oh my god, she died?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
it's going around in the miming community.
Sorry, give me 1 second. I got it.
They're the only ones who are willing to kiss each other, you see. And it's mouth-based infection.
And I think they look absolutely heartbroken. Like you have destroyed them. Like you can see like tears like at their eyes, and they like the lip is wobbling, and they're like, I was going to.
Good riddance, if you ask me. I think we should be using shotguns.
I think that like I'm gonna just roll for this person because maybe I think like they're only 1d6 worth of roll, but like it's a 1. Okay. I think they are not gonna try and beat you or anything. They completely lose whatever nerve they had, and they like just burst into tears right at that moment. And like, I can't believe she died. She gave me hope to be a new and better person. You know, like she was trapped, like just like I've always felt trapped. She's giving you a lecture about the performance that you gave her. Because of course now you're not wearing the mustache, so she doesn't recognize you. But you're in, and like actually right now you can make your way very easily to like the loading dock. Make your way very easily to like where the stuff is being kept. Both of those things are not a problem.
As the golem shows up, we will rejoin the crew, of course, and we will do this as Vickers finally sees the carriage pull up after a desperately long mime performance. It has made her quite uncomfortable because again, she doesn't like embarrassing people. She's perfectly fine with embarrassing herself, but she feels a bit bad for the roofball team. So as she sees the carriage show up, she will make a gesture at Banchu, and he will fall over. And Vickers goes, oh dear, one of my mimes appears to have died. Something going around at the moment. Oh look, here's the ambulance, goodbye.
What? Okay.
We'll drag Panchu onto the carriage, and the rest of the crew will join us.
Except Joan.
No, please go on.
Except Joan, who like has a bit of a distant stare again, as if she's extremely distracted, and says, "Well, you guys go on ahead. I have to go park this thing." And then she leaves with the golem because she drove it out.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. You traumatized out driving a golem. So
I threw him out of the flashback.
Oh God. I guess the reason that it like hits you now is that as you come back and you see the hypnosis, a memory of someone who had been hypnotized by someone completely different emerges from the golem and hits you, and like the kind of awful feedback effect is almost like impossible to bear.
And on top of that, you have hypnotized two people into enjoying mimery, and you can never forgive yourself for that. And now they're crying over a
Actually,
mime.
only one of them is like
That's fucked up.
One of them's heartbroken. The other one doesn't know yet. We don't know how she's gonna react. But yeah, one of them's like fucking.
May I say something? If Joan's about to be like leaving us, I think Freya would try to follow, but like I think immediately I would fail at it because Joan would probably just start like spring hill jacking out of the
Is that something
area.
golems can do? That's mad.
What?
Okay.
Oh, would you take the golem
Yeah,
Oh,
with
I
you?
think she's still on the golem.
Yeah, I'm taking the golem. I have to go buy the golem. That's the excuse.
Bye.
Like, I feel like this Joan golem storyline is just going so many places.
It's so fucking
I
weird.
mean, I can't believe you traumatized out on top of a golem, but you did.
Yeah.
As you take the golem and you kind of like make it bounce off the rooftops and like out of sight, I think Freya just says she's so cool.
Yes, great. Joan, you have a little fan, like a little fan girl. Totally fine. But yeah, I think the rest of you, like the train yard here is not as big as. No, that's a lie. This is Udwasha. The train yard here is actually very big, but it's like very well organized and like very well kept. So it's not very hard to like locate where you need to go, and you can definitely see that like the carriage in which all of the things that you want has just been disconnected from the train because it was like as part of freight, and it's just been sitting like on rails somewhere, and you can see there's like a big padlock on it. Nobody's really like I think looked in on it in a while. Probably there's like an occasional check to be like, oh, it's still here and the stuff is still here, but nobody's super worried about it, I don't think. And you did hypnotize someone, so in fact, right now you have a pretty free hand to go at the carriage. You just got to break in and move the stuff, I guess. Where will you move it into? I don't know. Joan isn't here, but
Oh, we're going to move it out so that it's ready
Excellent.
to pack
Okay.
up, obviously. And I think this is where the slightly tarnished disguise as
yes,
a delivery crew
yes.
comes in. Where I think Vickers and the Roofball team will just confidently walk into the building and start lifting out the stuff and like packing it. So I don't know if we find that any surprises on the
Yes,
inside,
indeed.
but you know, Vickers is absolutely going to direct the team to just carry everything out. And I think also, as she directs them, she will turn towards Abbas and say like, "Oh dear me, I suppose it's the paperwork. Do you have the note from Hardil? Should we write anything else, you think?"
What we're doing here is going to screw Hardil over, and then Hardil's going to come after us. And I don't know if how much Abbas wants to do this. Like,
Well,
implicating this.
I don't know. He did give us the funds to just purchase them. He did give us an IOU, but
Yeah.
it does make him look slightly suspicious, I guess.
Just a little bit.
Yes. My
That's
angle here, why Vickers is asking this of Abbas, is because Abbas is quite good at this, right? Paper trails and so on. So I think it would be cool if Abbas could actually fake, like, oh yeah, Hardil bought this from corrupt official number 3. His name is, so and so. That guy. I think it would be cool if we just left a fake paper trail and go like, yeah, Hardil bought this from a guy, and then we just throw some guy, fictional or otherwise, under the bus and just leave paperwork showing that he sold it.
All right, so we have to create, like, I think what we're trying to do is then create some like I don't know, like false like bills of exchange and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Because my thinking is out of character. And I don't think Vickers would think of this, but Abbas might, which is why I'm phrasing it this way. But my thinking is, you know, Hardil would have nothing against if it looks like, you know, he bribed a guy and he got to buy them legally. That sounds like that was his plan A anyway. So if it looks like he did that, that's not a problem for him, right?
All right, okay.
If
So
I
in
read the
that,
situation right.
I think the first thing to do then would be to maybe look through, try and find like some documents so that I can so that I know like what kind of forgery I'm doing, like what their format is.
Yeah.
So, which let's say I'm doing that. I guess that would be a study roll.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Double checking. Does this plan make sense?
yeah.
Reed?
Yeah, I think so. Like we're like we want to make it look like we are using Hardil's money, but we don't want it to look like we are stealing something on Hardil's behalf. We want it to look like we are still legitimate buyers, but the fault is not with us; it's with someone in the Imperial
organization. Yeah.
in the organization. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna study their documents to see how they keep track of their things, and then we'll forge a
Excellent.
paper trail.
Okay. I feel like this is like happening kind of in flashback, right? Like, I don't imagine this is happening right now. So
Yeah. No, let's flash back to a time
Yeah,
where I
makes sense.
studied all of this.
in that case, I think that let's call it a one stress flashback, just to like kind of get access to all of the documents that you need, because I feel like some of this stuff isn't readily available, but you can get it. It's not a problem. After all, you've got contacts at the university and so on.
Yeah.
And you can just roll study as a fortune, I think.
All right. Sure.
Or how about we just do the study roll and that's it? Like that also forges it.
Yeah,
I think so. I think it's more interesting to compile these into one roll. And the way I visualize this also is, this is not necessarily all official documents and forms, right? The things you can forge is letters going like, corrupt official sends a note to the crew going like, when these people come through, give them all the stuff. Please burn this letter.
Yeah.
It can look like it's a deal under the table, so we don't have to have filled out all the paperwork perfectly, because you wouldn't do that if you're doing a deal under the table. So
yeah. I think what we're really trying to forge is like some money being moved around. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think in that case,
all right.
Which is easy to do because we legit are moving some money around.
I think it's pretty standard. And I actually think the big risk here is that like people are going to at some point pick up on the fact that some of this was forged. So it's like kind of the quality of the forgery is what we're rolling for. So we'll see.
Okay.
How about this? What if we make it desperate great? And I'm, petitioning on behalf of our boss here. What if we make it desperate great, but like the official is very real and very corrupt, and everyone knows about him. So this would actually, I don't know, implicate Hardil less in a way because more eyes would be on the official. But then that official would probably be
Makes
more
sense.
angry at us.
That's absolutely something that can happen.
I like that as a consequence, and in that, so I will go do desperate great, and I don't know if I don't think anyone can really assist unless because
I'm assisting.
Okay, you're assisting.
Yeah, I mean, I can help with the. We spend a lot of time in the library together.
Oh yeah, of course, Freya, of course, my protege.
Your library monkey.
And
Ooh, 6, a 1, and a 4.
Nice. I didn't need your help.
Dangerous thing to say after you get the help. It's a full success. Tell me about this official. In fact, first, let me give them a name.
His last name is Murgatroyd.
Murgatroyd, Rashid Murgatroyd.
When he married his husband, they both changed their names, and they both decided Murgatroyd is what they would go by. Yes, indeed.
A trustworthy name.
So when you say that, so it's not any of their last names. They just chose a completely different name
because they were like, you know what, like our marriage is going to be something new and beautiful, and we should pick something new and beautiful. And then they picked Murgatroyd. So whatever the names were before,
I wonder if this is a world building side note. And we're going off track quite severely here. But I wonder if it's a thing in Uduasha that people just like take the surnames that are like just forgotten gods. I mean, we're the Chakraborty after a deity, so maybe there is some sort of weird forgotten god named Murgatroyd.
Oh my god! Sure. Yeah, I mean, probably there is some little business, right, in like figuring out like the appropriate forgotten god that you can like name yourself after for luck.
Exactly, yeah. But I mean, these gods are not. Uduasha is not a city where these gods are in any sense illegal. So I imagine it can be a thing that you get married and go like, yes, we shall have Murgatroyd bless our marriage and take his name.
Murgatroyd is usually represented as 6 crocodiles chewing a bag of gold.
It's a god of wealth through perseverance, let's say. But you could persevere at like theft also.
Yes.
That's also allowed.
Mhm.
You know what? Wait,
Uh-huh.
we're making a mistake. The elephant
Uh-huh.
should be Murgatroyd.
The elephant should be
I think that
Murgatroyd.
it's possible that okay, let's do it like this. I think the more the elephant reaches into the present, the more real it gets in the present. So maybe it will
Uh-huh.
take its name from whatever it is that happens that causes the fourth like take on that clock to fill. I might even fill today.
Yeah. We can leave it blank. I do, however, find it very funny to have a corrupt official whose name is after an elephant who lies. It's funny on two levels because
Yes.
it's deceptive, but it is also
Yeah.
obviously deceptive, which I mean is like, since his whole thing is everyone knows he's corrupt, everyone knows he's
Yeah.
lying. It literally means his name is the
Oh,
elephant
that's
in the
great.
room, which is
Yeah.
very funny to me. But
I like the idea of this god of wealth through perseverance only because like I like having come up with it randomly. And I also just like Snagglepuss saying, "Heavens to Murgatroyd! Exit stage left." So yeah, I just like the.
yes.
I want to keep that a bit separate, but I think I'm sure there's like names like Murgatroyd out
Yes.
there.
Yes. I think I was the person who suggested
you
a
are
demon
correct.
elephant,
You were.
and like my immediate reason for demon elephants was as a Dwarf Fortress reference.
Very good. Yes. Um,
But I like the idea of leaving the elephant's name unclear
Yeah,
until
I
the
think,
clock
like,
finishes.
maybe it
But
is.
maybe it is
Yeah,
Murgatroyd.
Maybe its name will become Murgatroyd, and then it will have always been Murgatroyd. Who knows?
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Yes. Such be the way with
yes,
time-traveling
unfortunately,
elephants, I guess.
such be the way with time-traveling elephants, whose entire existence may be a lie. So who knows? Does it even exist? Question mark? I don't know.
Doesn't exist until that clock fills.
Yeah, you don't notice the if you don't
No, it's
hear the elephant in the room, did it really exist? Cool. So I think, I mean, the forgery seems to have worked perfectly, but of course, even with a perfect forgery, Mr. Rashid Murgatroyd is still going to be annoyed. Oh Lord, that rhymed. Annoyed Murgatroyd. That's the name of a band. I think that what happens is that when you finish forging all of the paperwork and so on, you also realize that like Murgatroyd is perfectly placed because I think he's got a connection to the Begum's like committee, whatever, which isn't hard to do. She's committed, like she's like everywhere. But it does mean that like some of the Begum's thing about embezzlement and so on will also tie into this, and it'll just make it very believable. And I'm wondering, as you're moving this stuff out, so this stuff there's a couple of different things. The first is there's a couple of like workstations, right? The way that I imagine them is that like they're like specially made desks, and right now all of the things that go on the desks are disassembled, but they're meant to be like used in a way where it's like all of the devices and contraptions all have their place on these desks, and you kind of like, you know, once you set them up, they're perfect to be used at that time. I think there's probably some very expensive sets of like chemist devices, right? Like I don't think they have Bunsen burners necessarily, but lots of like very well made glass things, this kind of thing. Probably some stuff that is specially designed to also work with wax, because Munna's plan here is to undercut his competition using like waxwork in some way. And I think that like Abbas, you definitely noticed that there is like one or two things here that that are of very classic Uduasha design, but made in Duskwall. And if Miraz was here, he would also notice this. But unfortunately, Miraz is not here. I think you see that this is like prime evidence that like the Empire is stealing Uduasha's like most treasured designs and then replicating them, like mass producing them wherever they're being mass produced in their factories, and then it's come back home.
Yeah, so Abbas did not have this. Like we prior to this, we did think that, or I mean, Abbas, I guess, because Hardil said that, oh, this is about supporting Akarosi, like glass blowers, right? That's what he said. But I think, but we suspected
correct.
that there was something up.
So basically, he
Right.
said something like, "Oh yeah, I want to support local entrepreneurs or something," right? Like what we and like it that didn't ring false
Yeah.
in that technically, like a drug dealer is probably an entrepreneur, but yeah, it's definitely like more underhanded than just supporting small businesses.
Yeah.
And this is somewhat, I think, more proof of that because, like, this is proof that he's cutting costs because you could get this handmade in Uduasha, no problem, but it would cost you 10 times as much.
May I suggest something?
Yes, Yumi.
This would be probably something Abbas should do. Otherwise, I'd just do it with Freya. Is while we're waiting, because we have all this stuff, but we need the carriage back to take it away, don't we?
Yes.
Yes.
I was about to say.
Okay.
So all of this was neatly organized, but I'm just pointing out we're packing this away into crates because that is how you do. And the problem is that we don't have a crew of rovers. We have a crew of thugs with the
Yes.
wild flaw. This
Yeah.
is, and it's also being coordinated by vicars. So you described how all
Yep.
of this is like perfectly set up,
Yep.
like extremely neatly organized. Then it's going to be packed. Like we're going to put cloth around it because it's fragile. I think
Sure.
we can manage not to fuck that up. But Hardil will have a little bit of a job because everything is going to go into boxes completely at random, and then vicars will helpfully label the boxes who does not read and write Hadrathi very well. So
Excellent.
the boxes will be labeled things like things,
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
more stuff. Yep.
So while that's happening, and we have some time. Well, I mean, obviously, if Joan wants to go for a joyride with the carriage after, if she wants to blow some steam, that's fine. I'm sure she'll come back. It's all going to be good, etc., etc. With the carriage. During that time, I think what might be good, and I think Freya is going to suggest this to Abbas because Abbas is much better at this whole reading and writing thing and cataloging than she is why don't we take a very detailed inventory of everything we see, right? Like literally everything, and this we can, and like afterwards we can study this.
Mm.
And I think like the best thing here is like, okay, Miraz isn't here, but if you give Miraz a detailed description of everything that is in here, he could probably put two and two together. Like, okay, what is this? What is this actually?
Yeah.
All right.
I
Yep.
mean, definitely the kind of thing that you can.
Good thinking, Freya.
I'm happy to assist with this as well, but I can't actually do the action. I don't think.
No, I can do it.
Mhm.
It was.
Mm.
All right. So we'll relabel the things that Vickers has labeled from just stuff to what they actually are.
No. What I mean is like as like everything's being put down, we kind of keep we kind of like catalog for our own thing, and we can't
yeah.
catalog ourselves.
Of course,
Yeah.
we
catalog
have
this
our
for ourselves. Fuck Hardil. He will have to sort through all of this
Oh, yeah,
later.
yeah.
It's-
Sure.
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah, we have our clipboards.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right. Any risk associated with?
I don't
studying
think there's any
things?
risk associated with studying this stuff. I do wonder about Abbas's kind of like advice. Like, what is the likelihood that you are going to lecture everyone around you about like how important it is that Uduashan technology be preserved and we reject imperial like influence? Because I feel like that might attract some attention.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was hesitating earlier because I was trying to figure out like what would what's the reaction to this be? Because clearly, like now, like it's fairly clear now, like what's going on, like
Yes.
what Hardil actually plans to do. But just not doing the score isn't an option. Like you just go, oh well, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, let's do the score and also keep a record of what exactly
Yeah.
the score was all about, so we can
Yeah,
figure out what
makes
we were
sense.
actually implicated in afterwards.
I think that this makes sense in the moment. Like Abbas can pack everything away for Hardil and then go and confront him later and go like, "You told me this was innocent glassblowing stuff, but actually I have a list. It was these things."
My nephew
Yeah,
told me. My nephew knows IT, and he knows that you installed a virus in my computer.
Yes, I think the priority now is to actually get the stuff and go, right? Like,
Yeah,
right.
as soon as
So,
our carriage returns.
yes.
Very good.
I am happy to assist you, and to assist you, I am going to. If I assist you, I'm going to trauma out, which is fine. I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick paranoid, and I'm going to. Yeah, we'll see.
All right, sure. Just a fortune roll doing it. Like, I
I
mean,
don't feel like
is
there is any
so-
risk here. Like, what risk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think we can just have a list of the things. I think it's a cool thing to have. It means that we're kind of collecting dirt on Hardil by
Yep.
compiling this list, actually.
Yeah.
And I think that's a cool thing to do. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think let's do fortune roll to figure out how detailed of a list we get
Makes
done.
sense.
Or something. All right, there we go. We know
Very
everything.
good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my
5, 1,
paranoia
and
wins
6.
the day.
Okay, I think that like what you find out, which is, yeah, I think what you find out, which is like probably more obvious than anything to you, Abbas, is that this is not just like a set of things that are designed to like make some products, right? Like that, like, oh, you know, I could use this to make golems. This is a set of things that you could use to make more things like this. So it's like they're more like machines that manufacture other machines. And I think you realize that what you have is a way, like the Uduashan technology that you saw that was being mass produced wasn't, some of it wasn't designed to be used. They were samples, right? It's like, okay, like now that you have this, you want to replicate this. And it's like basically you bring the Imperial, the way that they like reproduce and make things back into Uduasha, and then like you hire people in Uduasha to do that, so you can undercut the Empire and you make the difference. But this is definitely like basically going to make a shit ton of money for Munna. It's not really going to help anyone else.
Wait, we will.
Yeah,
this
but
is what
also,
we
like,
will know.
sorry, the reason that I said as much as I did was I felt like with the 6, like Abbas deserved to like be able to figure something out now, because otherwise it feels like if I don't give you any details, then like I'm like that success doesn't have.
I think it's fair for you, the player, to just be like, yeah, Abbas will figure this out later. He doesn't figure it out in the
Sure, yeah.
moment, to not like slow us down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, Abbas will consult with his nephew. His nephew will inform him that Hardil tried to install a virus on his computer, and then he will be angry about it later.
Mm-hmm.
Computer, what is all this? Yeah,
Yes.
what is that about?
Yeah. Also, Freya's going to go away now,
Oh man, yeah, I guess you throw it out.
Okay, goodbye, Freya.
and she's going to run away because
No, I have a funnier way for you to be removed from the score. Sorry, yours may be good, but I think the way I picture you trawling out is like you are trying to compile what's in the boxes, while my fucking deranged people are packing the boxes without paying very close attention. So I think you accidentally get packed.
Oh my
I think
god!
You like look into a box and then someone puts a lid on it.
Wow, that's why I'm paranoid.
Mhm.
I mean, it's up to you, but I feel like that's a mistake my clowns would make because they're not very good at this.
I mean, that's definitely funnier, but no, that's not what I want. I want to
Okay,
leave.
mhm. Okay, fair.
We can revisit that later.
Mhm.
As to like what's going on with that. But at one point, like Freya's
Okay.
just going to vanish.
Yeah, just like completely gone.
Okay. And then Vickers will think that you got accidentally packed into one of the boxes and worry about it.
It'll be
Yeah.
fine. I mean,
Mhm.
there's probably some food and water in there.
Uh-huh.
Someone
Yes.
probably dropped their sandwich in there.
Something of these things must be edible, right?
I don't know if I missed anything, but is there a reason why Freya's just leaving, or just,
I
she's
traumatized
just
her.
being- No, I know, but like, why just leave, like without?
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, she wouldn't say it, like she'd just vanish. But like the out of character reason, which I was going to say afterwards, is that she's paranoid. There's already an inspector probably after her. There's a lot. This stuff seems scary. I don't know. She'd probably be like,
Right.
okay, I think I'm going to bounce, and that's probably going to be better for everyone else.
Yes, I time my head out.
I time I head out. You're all safer without me. Bye.
Okay, all right, okay.
Very good.
Yep. And as soon as Joan returns with the carriage, we shall put all the
Excellent.
boxes in the carriage. I think that's a pretty easy thing to do once you've packed everything.
Yeah. What's going on with that, by the way? What's going on
That's
with
a lovely
Joe?
question. By the way, we've had 2 people trauma out in this score. I didn't expect this score to be the one that like caused trauma. I expected the guard eating score to be trauma, and yet here we are.
I mean, surprisingly, the score itself has gone very smoothly. Like, not much has happened, like, in terms of complications. Everything went according to plan.
Yeah, I mean, it really did actually. You had a pretty good score. You got rid of the inspector, got into the train station, moved the stuff pretty easily.
Well, it's not over yet.
No, it's not over yet. You're not wrong. Yeah, so I think that like, where is Joan?
So Joan is on the roof, in the golem, and basically just continuing the joyride, honestly, because once we came to that place and we saw that person who she had set up to be in love with a mime, and now they're dead, or maybe, well, not really, but you just see all the pain and the grief. And why not just be a golem and drive around? Isn't that much better?
This
Yeah,
seems
that's
less
what's-
like a joyride and more like a melancholic introspection about the meaning of life, right?
Now, I don't want to get hung up on terminology.
Yeah, I mean, wow. Yeah. You've genuinely, I'm struck dumb. I don't know what to say.
So yeah, she's on the roof.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I think in that case, I will summon you back once everything is packed. If Joan is not snapping out of this on her own.
I think that's reasonable for you to summon. How is Vickers summoning Joan?
Well, so we will notice that you're not showing. We'll probably notice that the golem isn't parked, and then we will probably see it on the roof because it is not a particularly subtle thing.
Absolutely fair.
And so I think Vickers will look around, and you are a railjack, right?
Mhm.
So Vickers could just run after you, but I think she realizes that you are not completely paying attention to what you're doing. So I think Vickers will have a rare flash of insight. She doesn't very often do this, and she will find a train whistle and blow the signal for you to come back on duty.
Excellent.
And like hopefully have you snap back to your old railjack self, right? Because this is one of those things that's very ingrained. When the whistle blows, you pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she will give a sharp. Presumably she's picked this up at train stations because she has traveled by rail in her life, and there are these signals of like train is departing, everyone on board.
Yeah.
So she will blow that signal.
Excellent. Yes. Joan, when you hear this, I think that in fact something in the golem also kind of shifts, because there's definitely a couple of railjack adjacent people in the golem also, and maybe that's also helping you to kind of like get yourself out of it because you're not in a great way.
I think we see just like both her and the golem freeze mid-step and then kind of not so much climb but droop off the roof and return.
So back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Yes. And Vickers stands there going, "Are you quite all right? Is there something on the roof?" Because I mean, she's a
Well, not
little
anymore.
perplexed. Sorry, what was that?
Well, not anymore.
Oh, good. Thank you, Joan. I always knew I could rely on you to hunt down any ghosts or whatnot were up there. Anyway, everything's neatly packed and labeled, as you can see. Vickers says, gesturing to her boxes that say random things. And then I guess she claps her hands and everything gets loaded into the back of the golem. I imagine the golem actually has pretty decent storage, because I mean this was meant to supply like construction goods for the art project, right? So
It's made of wax. It's probably malleable.
yeah, true. Oh, there's this very weird where we set down the boxes and like the wax along the floor, and it kind of molds around it to hold it in place.
Fucked up. Amazing.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Mhm.
So we encase the boxes in a thin layer of wax that flows eerily against gravity
Excellent.
upward around the boxes and encase them. Yes.
Definitely normal. Definitely, absolutely.
This is
totally
actually
normal.
definitely and absolutely totally normal in Uduasha.
Yes.
None of us blink an eye.
In
But
Uduasha,
also,
yes.
let's consider that
Yeah.
that's extremely practical. Who is it that's constantly saying that Sparcraft is better, and why are
Yes.
they wrong?
Yeah.
You know how much this costs?
exactly how much it's worth.
Uh-huh. Yes. So anyway, Vickers will, I mean, she's not familiar with Uduash and Waxwork, so she will react with some surprise to everything being encased, but she's like, oh well, I will trust Joan's expertise. Apparently she is a skilled wax ant driver. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Joan, who is not currently in contact with the waxwork golem.
Yes.
Indeed.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Well, I don't know how it works. Maybe you steer it by music or something. I'm not going to think over much about this.
Absolutely fair.
The number of things that Vickers should be thinking about that she doesn't think about is worrying. And that is also one of the things that Vickers doesn't think about.
Yes. Absolutely. This is, I'm sure it's all part of local culture and tradition. After all, Abbas tells me so much about all the amazing things the old Iruvian arts could do. I'm keeping surprised day by day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that in fact now when you load the stuff up, I don't think there's any problem here, and it seems to me that in fact the rail yard is not where the big challenges ever were, because you have created your own challenges by leaving a paper trail where there wasn't one, and that's gonna reverberate. I'm curious, like, is it the case now that the carriage is completely empty apart from this one envelope or like set of like papers in envelopes like on the floor of this carriage?
Oh, the train, you mean? Like where we got it from? Yes, I think Abbas faked the actual detailed paperwork, but Vickers will like personally place the payment with like a little thank you note going like, thank you very much. Here's your money. Excellent time doing business with you.
Yes,
and,
very good.
And leave that behind. And then we have all of this, like, who exactly the person Hardil is doing business with is going to become obvious by the other paper trails that we've set up.
Are you going to relock the carriage? Because did you pick the lock or did you break the lock?
I imagine we had a person who was hypnotized to let us in. So, presumably that person had access to the carriage, or is that incorrect?
That actually makes sense.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think, we will probably, it's not that we hypnotized them to like literally do everything for us, but they gave us the key. So Vickers will lock it with the key, hang the key neatly on a nearby nail.
Nice.
So that it's easily visible. And just generally do this as conveniently as possible for everyone else.
Excellent.
I'm not even sure Vickers knows we're doing anything illegal, technically speaking. He's just...
we just stole a carriage.
Yeah.
Yes, we may have moved it without speaking to a person, but we left money behind, and we were let in. So maybe their schedule just didn't work out, and they couldn't be here in person.
Okay.
I know what our payoff for this course should be.
So yeah, I think the next step is to just drive this carriage to Hardil's drop-off point.
Yes.
Drop it off, and then drive the carriage back and park it outside the construction site.
Oh no, keep the carriage.
Oh, we're keeping the carriage. Okay.
I mean, sure you can, but
Why not?
that is also definitely going to be noticed. No, that's bad. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, that's
That's fine.
I don't know how we can keep the carriage without like it attracting a ton. Then again, Begum Mashundra has a contact with us. We have an entire temple. Yeah, and also I realized Begum Mashundra actually has a construction contract with us as well. So maybe we can just be like, thank you for the construction carriage.
Yeah. Excellent. I mean, probably if she's able
like,
to point,
over.
if she's able to point to your carriage as further evidence of embezzlement, that probably like helps her case.
Yeah. I also think it's very funny if Abbas goes like, oh, by the way, thank you for donating this carriage during our last meeting. It's in the minutes.
Excellent. Very good. I actually think that like you are like wherever the drop-off point is, it's like a warehouse in the district called The Hand, which is where the mining and like a lot of the industry in Uduasha happens. But it's also where the more sparkcrafty and scientific university is, the Chainbreaker University. And I think you end up delivering this to a place that is, it looks like it could have been like a university building, but like maybe it's been sold off or like maybe it's being rented or something. But Like that's not your problem. You can turn up, like someone very like official looking kind of comes out, looks you, says, "Oh, you're the," and then like looks at the sky and says, "You're the dust delivery, very good," and then like just like very efficiently takes everything out of your carriage, says, "Thank you very much," and says, I'm informed everything's been taken care of, so I don't need to pay you or anything, so good day," and then just like turns around, walks back into the building.
Yep.
Excellent.
Okay, then I
Yeah.
guess we drive this thing home and
Yes.
keep it there.
Yes,
I guess that's
indeed.
fine.
Yeah, that's the end of the score. And I feel like we end this score with Constable coming back to that construction site that you stole the carriage from to see that like maybe I want to say maybe 60 to 70% of people were standing in line. But she can definitely tell that like the crowd here was not as big as the crowd was when she left, right? And you can just see her take out like a little notebook that she keeps and like write down on her to-do list, on which there are things like, organize the entire library of like the bureaucracy. She just writes down, track down miscreants who have escaped from construction site 7. And then she just closes the notebook and then gets along with arresting all these people. And I think that's the end of the score.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Shall we do payoff and do we have time for downtime, or are we doing payoff and then XP?
I think we have time for downtime.
Yeah, we could do some downtime.
Yeah.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
mostly asking you, Tree, since you were in the night.
Yeah.
In the night.
So basically, it is a bit late for me, but it's not too late. So we'll do payoff.
Okay.
Let's do payoff first then.
I proposed that it be the carriage itself. We get like part of the family, the smuggler ability that essentially turns your vehicle into a cohort, which I think is perfectly appropriate for a vehicle that's alive.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. That makes
I
sense
don't
to me.
mind. I think it's cool.
Yeah. And it will generate tons of trouble for you. Which is
Yeah.
great.
Okay, so I have taken the liberty of statting it up because it's a cohort. It has the edges, nimble and sturdy. Nimble because we've seen it climb onto roofs.
Mhm.
Its flaws are distinctive and finicky. Distinctive, it +1 heat on a score if we use it. And I think finicky because the vehicle has
Only
quirks that
Joan.
only one person understands.
Yes.
Joan.
Yeah.
-1 quality when Joan isn't driving it.
Yeah. I think that makes perfect sense. Very good.
Yes. Should we name this carriage?
Oh yes,
Yes,
we
of course,
absolutely should.
Oh man.
Joan.
Yes, Joan, please
Please.
name this carriage for us.
We already have someone in our cohort entourage called Socks. So obviously this one is called Gloves because it walks on hands.
Yes, absolutely. Very good. Yeah.
And we're gonna make it little gloves.
Oh, that's cute.
Something glove box.
Yeah, something glove box. Awful. Yeah.
Should we call it the glove box? Because it's a walking box that has gloves.
Yes, the glove box. That's
Okay.
wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Brief aside, the word for the boot of a car in India is the dicky,
Yes.
and I just had the image of this glove box actually being a dicky filled with random shit. But that's just like not really relevant. It's just like struck me. Okay, so let's do payoff. 2 rep per score by default. The target here was both the Begum and the train station, but I feel like the main challenge was the Begum. I feel like actually the train station went quite well. But at the same time, the train station is like definitely the higher tier target. So I think like the Begum is 1 tier more than you, and the train station is like tier 4. It's 3
I
tiers
think
more
it
than
should
you.
be the Begum, because like the
Yeah.
train station wasn't really an obstacle, it was just a venue.
Yeah. I feel like basically by the time you got to the train station, you'd already kind of like done like the big work of the score, and also I didn't like the train station did not feel to me like somewhere that was like there were more kind of interesting obstacles to see. I feel like we saw kind of enough. So
Yeah, fair.
I think then it's like 2 + 1, totally 3 rep.
I mean, another way of thinking about it is also like the Begum herself or even her people weren't a problem at all. Like I don't think we actually even had any rolls against them.
No, we didn't.
No, but you
It
had
was the inspector.
it was the inspector. Yeah. So if you want to make the inspector but I think that like in fact you didn't really ever roll against the inspector exactly either. You kind of rolled to get the inspector on your side. But that's a lie. You did try to trick her with the illusion. But I do think the target was the Begum because that's what.
Yeah. Let's leave it there. Yeah.
So that's tier 3. Sorry, tier 2, so 3 rep. I don't think you earn any cash. I think the payoff here is the glove box.
Yeah, that's fine.
You would have earned cash also if you hadn't left the IOU and you just, claimed it for yourself, but you didn't do that.
Yeah, we did this very honestly. I feel like Hardil must be very pleased.
Yes, I'm sure he is. Don't have to pay off your boss because you're doing a job for him, so like that's fine.
Uh-huh.
And let's do heat. Actually, weirdly, it seems to me it's somewhat. No, I think it's between contained and loud, only because the inspector is such a big presence.
I think contained is fine though, because we could have like attacked the inspector. We could have done this a lot louder.
Yes,
The inspector is a big deal, but all we really did was have the inspector turn up, be like, "Wait, someone's playing roof ball," and leave.
Yes.
So like, I think that counts as contained.
Yeah.
+1 heat for her being a high-profile target.
Yeah,
Being involved at least, even if she wasn't the target herself.
and it'll be +1 heat for hostile turf because it was literally her turf, and +1 heat for war because you're at war with her.
Okay, so it's baseline heat +3.
Yes.
What was the baseline?
It was 2 + 3.
2, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Are
You
you
know
at,
what that means?
Are you at wanted 3?
We have a wanted level again.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, I should really
Fantastic.
think about
We-
what this means for you because like wanted 3 seems like a very big deal.
Yes, we are very wanted for having barely committed any actual crimes.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. That's your heat, and I will just roll your entanglement so that we know what's coming.
With 0 heat, I should add.
Oh, well, that's good.
It is, however, a crit.
Great.
So,
Wow. I mean, like,
A crit
okay.
on 0 heat.
1 second. Page 150. 0 heat. Gang trouble or the usual suspects. Oh, no, sorry. I'm reading this table wrong. It's 6, which is cooperation. +3 status faction asks you for a favor. If you don't have a +3 faction status, you avoid entanglements right now. But you do have a +3 status faction, don't you?
Do we?
Yeah.
yes,
Oh, we do.
the
Scotland
Scotland refugees.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I think that like I can ask you for some help.
Uh-huh. I have a way to tie that into my downtime action. I'll just
Excellent.
say that up front.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my downtime action is going to be to play roof ball with Mariam again to try to repair my relationship with her a bit.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Sure. And like Marion kind of is very scared of you guys now because she did witness Joan eat a god. So how are you convincing her to come hang out with you?
Yeah, she is one of the Skovlander refugees, so I feel like if it's a natural way for like this request for a favor to come to us,
That's
right?
true,
Because
yeah.
she is now that Freya is no longer the leader of the refugees. Basically, Marion is the next best thing they have. So
Yeah, that's true.
Look, it's like this. Marin doesn't have to like Vickers or anything like that, right? You know, she can be like afraid of Vickers or dislike Vickers. It's just roof ball, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah,
play
that's
the
exactly
roof
it.
ball.
Yeah, I'm going to have an away match. Like my team is all pent up and annoyed because they had to pack stuff. They had to like do
Yeah, that's
work.
not fun. Yeah.
So I'm rewarding them with a match against Marion. So yeah, we don't have to pay much attention to the match. I will just roll Indulge Vice. That's my
Cool.
downtime action.
Yeah.
I am playing sports, and then you can get back to it if you want to think about it. But I think this is a natural way for like the whole asking a favor to come up because I will be going. Like it's an away match, so I will be going to their territory to play the
Yeah,
match. So it
absolutely.
might not even be Marion that approaches me. It might be someone else.
Yeah. I think that like I will think about it because I don't have any great ideas right now, but this probably will be your next score, in fact. Because
Yep.
it seems to me like very naturally they're gonna ask you a favor and it's gonna be like somewhat urgent because otherwise like they wouldn't just come up to you and be like
Yeah, I just
um,
wanted to throw this out so you have like a natural way to work it in.
Yeah, and in fact, like I'm open to ideas as well. I think like we could see loads of things to do with the refugees and other stuff. So we'll see how that goes.
Yep. Yeah, and that's my one downtime action, so I'm done.
Oh, you only get one. Yes, correct. You rolled a 2, a 4, and a 2. So you cleared 4 stress.
Mhm.
Who wants to go next?
I would.
Right.
So none of you have seen Freya since she vanished,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
and what she's been doing with her time
Mhm.
is obsessively trying to figure out who we were working for.
Ah,
Who is Mr. Samhorse?
yes, very good. And what are you doing now in order to figure that out?
Mm-hmm. So I've seen all the stuff. I helped Abbas catalog all of it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to, let's see, who do I have? Who are my friends? Yeah. I'm going to, this is going to be funny. Listen, right now, I don't know who to trust,
Uh-huh.
except, of course, the temple.
Yes.
But like, I know that, I've been hearing like more rumors and so on, and like I think people keep mentioning my name on the streets and so on. Or at least like I keep thinking people are mentioning my name. Anyway, I should not be there,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know really who to trust. Not even like the lady. Maybe
Wow.
I'll have to
Okay.
think. I'll have
Yeah.
to think. I have to
Okay.
think. I have to think about it. There's only one person in this entire city who
Uh-huh.
I know has no dog in any fights and is absolutely loyal to me. I'm going to have Bodan haunt the place that we dropped the stuff off and see where Hardil goes with it.
Okay.
Oh, amazing.
You can do this, but I feel like this is like there's risk involved here because you're asking a ghost
Mhm.
to do something for you. Sure. Yeah, I think it's risky standard. So let's say this is not necessarily a downtime action because I feel like downtime actions should be kind of free and fortune rolls, but you can still work on this clock in this way.
Okay. Then I do have a downtime action left.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. So let's see. Is this an attune? I guess it's an attune.
it's an attune.
Could be a sway
Do I get
or
a bonus
consort.
dice?
For Bodan.
Yeah, it's not. I don't get a. Yeah, okay. I don't get a bonus dice because it's not a downtime action.
Yeah.
Sway or a consort. I'm going to call it an attune. Like I'm going to summon him.
Oh.
I'm also going to try to get him to like. I think part of it is also like he's a ghost in Uduasha, which officially doesn't exist.
Yes. I think he's now the
So
only one
if
left.
he's
The rest of them did
Yeah.
get destroyed in the grotto. So
Yeah, like if he avoids like coming out and like I don't know draining anyone of electroplasmic energy or like and so on and doesn't do the spiritual vampire shit that ghosts do, literally no one will know that he was doing this. Okay, so risky standard. Would I know more on a great effect? Would he be able to find out more? Would he be able to like embed himself even more and like learn a lot more?
I actually think on great effect, maybe you would be able to figure out not just like you wouldn't just get a name because I think in this case, who is Mr. Samhorse? You would identify that he's like a mob boss or whatever. But I think great effect, you would be able to figure out like parts of his history that maybe nobody else knows because you're getting a ghost to track him, and ghosts don't exist in Uduasha.
Yeah. Okay. Do I get a devil's bargain to this?
Okay, I think that like, because I was also thinking about you wanted to bring Miraz back. So I think it's possible that if you go around digging around Munna, someone's going to notice at some point. So I think a very straightforward devil's bargain here, and it might seem very harsh, but it's kind of like you can bring Freya back at any time, but she will disappear in that she will be disappeared by one of Hardil's people because you've been poking around in the wrong places.
But I do want to be able to give information to the crew before that happens.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
Assuming I find anything.
Yeah.
If I fail, then I just probably get disappeared or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Bonus dice. This is actually quite high stakes.
This is very high stakes actually, but like it's an important
Crit.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, amazing! What a
Extreme
time to
attack.
crit. Okay.
Yeah. Man.
So that's 5 ticks, and you had linked clocks, right? So you finish the first clock and then get a bunch of ticks to the second clock.
Yeah, which is another 4
Oh, yeah,
ticks.
Oh yeah, so you finish both the clock to figure out who Mr. Samhorse is, and then to figure out that it's Munna,
Yes.
right? Because that was the second clock.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think that like the way that this works is that Bodan, you speak to him, he's like very like he's absolutely going to do the work for you. And I think that you have chosen an approach that like even someone like Munna would not have like specific wards against. Like if he was in Duskwall, if he was somewhere in Severos, you know, like he'd be warded up to the guilds. You know, he probably has like a whisper who works for him, who's constantly on the lookout, right? But I think in Uduasha, he's got different things that he's looking out for in similar ways, like demonic influence or whatever, but he's not worried about ghosts. And so Bodan is almost like has a free hand to like follow him, do whatever he needs to, and obviously like he's not going to make things rattle and make Munna suspicious, which is also good, but he gets very good information. And I think that you basically find out that Munna is a seemingly ordinary man with an extraordinary grip on not just Uduasha, but like places across the empire. Like the kinds of conversations he's having with Hardil, with like other people that he's meeting. He's got this bodyguard called Daisy, just like casually saying things like, "Fine, shut the Lockport operation down." And Bodan is like, "Wait, he's got an operation in Lockport. What does that mean?" And it turns out that like he's got an illegal refinery that's just operating in Lockport, and now it's become unprofitable or something, and he's shutting it down. It's like, wow, that's mad, right?
I have a sorry, go on. And then I'm going to add what I would request as a very silly thing that I find out.
Sure.
At the end.
But like what I mean here is like the kind of texture I'm giving you is this is how good like information you get, and this is like you get a very good idea of the scale of the problem you are dealing with. And I think one of the reasons that's very important is that like we kind of like would talked about Munna as someone who is very hard to like even see. You know, like you barely know that he exists, and even when you know he exists, you don't think he's like much of anything. But you get like the idea that he is not just like serious business, but like he could crush you without thinking about it, and you would probably thank him because he's such a nice guy. And in fact, yeah, I think Bodan really likes him because he's such a nice guy.
That's fair. I mean, that's saying a lot, given that Bodan is a spirit essence hungry predator.
Yeah, and the way you know,
but it's like this one's chill.
Yeah. I mean, also one of the ways that you know that like Bodan really likes him is that Bodan wasn't like, I want to drink his soul. But yes, Bodan's like, this guy seems pretty cool. He's fighting the Empire. He's doing his own thing. He's like a visionary, an entrepreneur. Like just like for some reason has a massive crush on Munna now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think what's going to happen is that at some point over the next few days, and I'm aware that after this I probably get captured somehow, right?
Mm-hmm.
But over the next few days, a really badly really badly written sheaf of documents and like the back of like I don't know pulp fiction novels or something, like recycled paper, shows up at the temple addressed to Abbas, and it's got all the information, like everything that you just said.
Yeah.
And I guess like this also like gives us fictional positioning to be able to like, yeah, we know about this and that and so on.
Yeah.
But one specific thing that I want to request, and you can tell me if it doesn't make sense for Munna, is that I know about amongst like the Lockport stuff, which obviously is like much more high up on the thing. I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. Oh Jesus Christ, right? There's like a very small mention, because this doesn't mean anything to me, to how Munna is in correspondence to a gentleman who is about to come to Duswall at any moment, and whose arrival is about to facilitate, and who is very interested in partnering with him in like the sort of like glass blowing project.
Sure. Yeah.
So on someone called Skurlock.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. I will say here two things. The first thing is for our audience that Lord Skurlock is a vampire in the base game that we all know and love. And I'm pretty sure I definitely tried to romance him in a game that I played. I feel like every person who's played enough of Blades has some story like this. So that's who Skurlock is. And thing number two, which I think is very interesting to know, is that apparently Munna is able to talk to a full-blown vampire on an equal basis, no problem, right? Which I do not think. I think like there's probably like 7 people in the entire empire who can do that, and that probably in badass spirit wardens, the emperor himself, that kind of thing. And Munna's just like some guy, but yet like you can see there is like respect there. So yeah. Of course, I'm gonna say yes to like Skurlock, like even obliquely being introduced.
Yeah, I mean, whoever this is, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Oh, this also means I do have downtime. Fuck it, I'm just going to train, I guess. I'm going to train prowess to, I don't know, practice not being seen.
Yeah, makes sense. And I think, in fact, then what happens is that you train and like you get a bit better, and then as I guess like whatever it is you're doing, you're kind of like running drills, or maybe like you're trying to like pick some pockets without being noticed. and then someone who is much better at you than this. And we see her face. This is in fact like Anna's own bodyguard, Daisy, who almost never leaves his presence. But for some reason now, she's come after you. And like when you least expect it, she just kind of taps you on the shoulder and says, you've been asking the wrong questions, girl. I think you need to come with me now. And like her tone tells you she's not going to take no for an answer. But it's also like, try and run, she will grab you and break your legs.
I mean, I do try to run, but I'd rather not have my legs broken. So I guess
I think
I just get captured.
yeah, I think like so. Let's say that like okay, like the tone is I'll break your legs, but like she doesn't actually break your legs. Like you get a bit injured in the attempt, then she trusses you up and carries you. Grumbles about like having to truss up and carry small children, I guess, because to her, everybody's a small child who's younger than like 40.
Yet another street urchin vanishing in Udvarsha.
Yeah.
Just a day in the life.
Well, I mean, I think this time the lady in shades of red is going to be really worried because she literally told you not to do that again. Yeah, here we are. Great. That is your downtime. Very good. If and when Lord Scarlock appears on screen, then I will describe to everybody what he looks like in this universe. Until then, I think I will keep it a secret just for us players, because as we all know, this is what he looks like. Who else has downtime they want to do?
Yeah, I could go.
2 downtime actions because you're organized.
Oh yes,
Very good.
calculating. Okay, so I think. Oh wait, did I not heal the? I did heal the cool spurs, didn't I? Why is it still there?
Oh, did you? Okay, because like I saw it on your sheet and I was like, oh, Constable's gonna notice.
No, that's my mistake.
Yeah, okay.
That's my mistake because last time I did heal it. But you know what? We'll keep it. Whatever. Like,
I mean, let's just
Yeah,
say that you
ghost
noticed like
scar
some
tissue.
like spirit influence or
Yeah.
something, you know, like.
yeah. What Zoheb said, ghost scar tissue.
Yes. Which for some reason she's very familiar with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
looks like a bunch of skull and crossbone patterns all over you.
Yeah. And, he doesn't look like the kind of person who would have that kind of tattoo.
Yeah. Joan actually identified that it looks like hair whitening and stuff. Like it
Yes,
teaches you.
correct. Yeah. Maybe on a bus it's not so obvious, but she still picked up on it.
Yeah.
That's just constable.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Okay. First of all, time to clear some stress.
Yes.
Which I think we could do by I don't know. Maybe we can also visit Miraz in the hospital. Is he coming to yet? Is he conscious?
Yes, I was thinking that it would be extremely fun if like Miraz wakes up from his long-term injury just to be lectured to.
Yeah, this is like Abbas is like Miraz, let's just play it out. You know, it goes in. Oh, Miraz, you're awake. Oh man, have I got a story for you, right? Well, see, this is always a problem with you. See, if you listen to me more, right? Things like this wouldn't happen to you, eh? Don't forget who got you out of that cave, and you show more respect.
Who are you? I'm sorry. Who am I? Where am I? What year is this?
Kids these days.
Very good.
Yeah.
By the way, is Miraz now like generally okay to be receiving visitors and stuff, or is it like?
Oh yeah, it's been a few sessions. I think so. Yeah. So despite his very convincing amnesia act, Miraz is perfectly primed. He's ready to go. His mind is a finely tuned machine. He has like all sorts of plans that involve the grotto, and these are entirely his plans. He came up with them himself. No one,
Yeah, absolutely.
He just knows what to do. Like he's very internally motivated, self-motivated.
Yes, absolutely. Is any of Bas's lecture, for some reason, striking a chord deep within you when he talks about the ways that you need to organize yourself and build a structure that is able to like take any kind of punishment?
Yes, it is. I think Miraz does the whole, snoring amnesia act, and then at one point he suddenly looks at Abbas, and then he extends a hand, and then he grasps Abbas's hand tightly and says, "You're right. You're right, Uncle.
I am.
Yes, you.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I've been very distracted lately. Sometimes all the knowledge that I've gotten from Akros it's important, of course. It's very important. I am future leaning. I'm future forward, and you can see like his brows sort of like furrow a little bit, as though like he's saying things that he's not entirely like he's just saying things. I'm future forward, but there is something to be said for the old ways, the traditions of our ancestors, and I think there's much that I could learn about the architecture. Listen, when we were at that fascinating grotto, I kept thinking that this would be the perfect place for an extension to the temple. Do you not? Which we should consecrate it to the temple, to not just give the people, those refugees and so on, a place to come so they can. Yes. Don't you agree? And will you help me with this? Will you help me with this design? And I'm like holding your hand like really, really tightly.
Okay, so there's two things here that Abbas is probably thinking. One is that probably moving into the lair of a forgotten god might be like, one that's hostile might not be a great idea. But the second one is that Miraz is actually listening to him. So which one of these two should win out?
The funny one.
The funny one. Yes, Miraz, yes, finally. You're listening to yes. It would be a great show of how far our temple has come. Yeah.
Yes. How far? From Udiput to Bundervest.
Yes.
Indeed.
So that's Miros.
Excellent. Very good.
Yeah.
Because we have not, I think, established agenda for the shrine builder, you said you meant every word of it. I was like, did he? And I thought to myself, well, some he might have, but who knows?
Yes.
Well, I think that iteration of the shrine builder that we met, the first one was a woman, but I think it's all shrine builders. It's shrine builders all the way down.
Yeah, it's just like one on top of the other.
I'm a shrine builder. She was a shrine builder. He, she, we, shrine builder.
Actually, like the gender is shrine builder, and the pronouns are shrine builder.
Yeah.
And this is in fact why they had to like make their own religion, is that nobody respected their desire to be a massive building. I mean, I'm saying this and I'm joking, but I'm also like, what if the temple was a person? Oh my god, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
So I shitposted myself all the way back into seriousness.
And that person's name, Albert Einstein.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
That's the elephant's name.
That's the elephant's name.
Yes.
Albert Elephantstein.
Very good.
Very good. Okay. Does anyone else have any downtime?
There's nothing that needs to be done with regards to the golem that the carriage that we took. Is like, was there? No.
No, and we don't even need to reduce heat because we got a
wanted level.
So we have 3 crew projects in case you're looking for something to do. We have Arcane Wards, New Claim Clock, and the Chakraborty's Favor.
Yes.
You know what?
Or you may have projects of your own, I don't know. But I just wanted to point out like crew things that are going on.
Yeah, we could do some crew things. Let's have a look.
How about this? Before Abbas goes, if I may.
Yes, you may. Absolutely.
Miraz wakes up, and the first thing he does is he works overnight, and then he hands Abbas a sheaf of like designs that push us towards the completion of the Arcane Words clock. It's like I was just seeing these in my dreams. I don't know, maybe I think they could be, and he's like being unusually like deferential. Like, do you think do you think these could like you obviously know more about the occult than I do, Uncle. Do you think these could keep unwanted influences and away from us and so on? I think they might work, but it's kind of like asking your opinion, and he's not sure of himself.
Okay, so mechanically, could this be a joint downtime action where we both work towards this clock?
Yeah, I can work on it, and then you can keep working on it if there's more. Is that thing?
Like, I mean, we just have this one scene, and then we just both roll.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think that would be
fine. I like these joint downtime actions for the character to just,
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I'll be happy to look. Oh, Miraz, I don't know what happened down in that cave, but I think it's the best thing that happened to you. Finally, your eyes are open.
This is the moment that Zajudan comes in and says, "Are You are supposed to be at bed rest. Okay? Us, get out.
I'm still in bed.
No, the doctor, Amitabh told us very clearly, you have to be in bed. You have to take care of yourself. I don't know what.
But
No, father, come here. Look at these designs. Do you think this? I'm going to like. He's my closest friend mechanically, so I'm going to take a +1 for him.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Oh, yeah. Okay. The reason I cut in here is that I started the clock and I figured like I didn't want to leave it to someone else to finish.
Okay.
But sorry, I didn't want to leave all of it to someone else to finish. I want to work on it a bit.
Yes, of course.
That's a 6, a 6, 1, 3, 5.
That's 3
So that's
ticks.
3 ticks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Bhaiya, look, these are very. I'm so proud of Miraz. These are very good designs. Like, but though, of course, I think maybe with a little bit of tweaking here and there, they could be even better.
You know what is even better than tweaking? Sleep.
All right. So am I just study? Oh, okay,
Yeah,
there.
I think your brother is just like yelling at you too much for you to get any work done. Like, what is wrong with you? Just like let the boy sleep.
So the arcane wards are almost finished, but not
Yeah.
quite.
Part of why I think it's a problem is that Miraz's designs are probably brilliant, but they make no sense to anyone except him. Right now.
That makes sense.
It's like, look, isn't this amazing? And it's just a bunch of like absolute horseshit gibberish.
No, I think what happens is that you have like successfully captured the sacred geometry from your dreams. So you understand sacred geometry. It's just that you can only express it in like mathematical formulas that Abbas and your father can't read.
Very good.
'cause it's-
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
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 So it's like you have the sacred geometry, but you don't draw it. You write out like the formula for it, and it's really, really unintelligible.
What is this? Jacobian of the Matrix? What?
Who is Jacob? Some Akarosi, this one. Why don't you listen to our elders, like our Albaruni?
I'm so sorry. I forgot. I forgot the Jacobian transformation. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So I haven't thought about the Hessian of anything in like 10 years. So or the Jacobian of anything in 10 years. So thanks for that. I mean, you're one tick away, but
I've never been so glad not to know those words.
you should be glad not to know those words because they are terrible words. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Joan still has downtime action, right?
That is so.
You don't need to really stress on account of you don't have any.
Yeah, exactly. Trauma out. It's very good for stress relief.
That's what they always say.
No doctors recommend, but still.
Doctors won't tell you this one simple trick. Yeah.
Yes. I've been thinking, would it be fair to say that with trauming out and getting the obsessed about golems trauma, that would fulfill this clock?
Yes.
The Joan changes her mind about golems.
I was thinking that. Yeah, absolutely it does. I think it makes perfect sense. I'm so curious about what you've changed your mind to.
Well, they're clearly they're not scary ghost things that are terrible and should be stayed away from. It's what I said when we were in the golem. Like clearly these are better than people.
Can I suggest a mechanical benefit to you finishing this clock just because I had an idea? I think it would be very cool if, as a result of changing your mind about golems and as a result of mind linking with this big wax thing, if you now have a pocket golem somehow, you like scraped it off of the big one,
that would be
and
so
you just
cool.
add a new item to your sheet.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little like candle stub.
Yeah, just a little guy that you have and can deploy for things. A little pet.
Like very agile, but it can get into places that nothing else can get into.
I do wonder, that's quite good. Like that's quite strong. Like, is it better to? I mean, I don't know. Like, is it better to be able to make such a thing? Like, be in a position to make one?
I think. Well, my next clock was going to be finding out how to actually make golems. So probably it allows me to create.
Yeah, makes sense. So you don't have the thing yet.
Yeah.
We have a Chandler who hangs out at the temple all the time.
I'm sure she would love to help you, the temple of the avatar of God that fucking absolutely berated her and destroyed her life's work
Yeah.
by making it meaningless.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
exactly why I'm going to hunt her now.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
So yeah, I want to make a new clock, learning the ways of the Chandler. How big should this clock be, do you think, Tree?
I think that like if you make it another 6 clock, then at the end of that, we will have done a 12 clock about golems, and then we can do like we can talk about like something really big for you to get, right? Because this is step 1.
You are now making a clock to craft the little golem. Am I
I'm
understanding
making
that correctly?
I'm making a clock to learn golem craft in general.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe strange
So,
methods really, like
strange
the thing
methods
that
would work.
yeah, and you get a thing, like you get the formula that you can make if you
Mhm.
do strange methods.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense. So you get strange methods, and your first new invention is mini golems. That makes sense.
And I am going to gain this knowledge not in like the normal personable way because well that didn't work. So I'm going to steal it specifically from Shyama.
Excellent.
But it will begin by hunting her and just kind of tracking where she might keep this sort of information and how I might use her to get it.
So at this point, it's less stealing and more spying on her.
Exactly.
Very good.
So I'm going to roll that. No bonus dice for now.
1 and a 5.
And it's a 5.
So yeah, I mean, I think that like the reason, in fact, that you it's not a 6, that you don't like get all the way there is I think on the way you spot another crow golem that belongs to House Anixis, and I'm curious to know whether your reaction here is to eat it or to not hurt it. But either way, I think like that kind of like occupies your attention for a bit, and you're unable to continue following Shama.
Of course, the reaction is to eat it.
Excellent. So it's a delightful snack, and you are definitely getting on someone's nerves because you know they make these things like with a lot of care and attention. Okay, it's not like
Should there be a clock for like the Chantas are tired of your shit?
I mean, I think that I was actually thinking House Anixis, but I think for conservation of factions, we should make it the Chandlers. It's possible that I might introduce a single NPC from that faction later on, but I don't think we should have.
I just had an extremely disturbing vision in my head now. If like Joan learns to manufacture golems by eating them, does that mean that she doesn't so much manufacture them as coughs them up like hairballs? Just like spits up a blob of wax and it comes alive.
Have you seen what Klow has to put?
I have previously held that image in my mind.
Oh no. Well, I'm gonna tell you that nobody is either vomiting or shitting out golems. So that's just fact.
And so blows out our brief candle. I named the disciples of the Ceaseless Temple thus, with both their given names and taken. Soumithri, called Tree. Zoheb, called Klow. Prince, Emma, and Aadiyat, called Soap. Intro music, Jalandhar by Kevin MacLeod. Outro music in Keeravani Ragam by Srinivas. Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions. Iruvian playbooks by Johnstone Metzger. Follow us at Desperate Attune on Twitter or email us at desperateattune@gmail.com. Support us at ko-fi.com/desperateattune.
Next time on Desperate Attune.
After the embrace, Miraz kind of pulls away and then he kind of looks at you and says, I've heard that guests are coming. Let's see, every single time I've heard this phrase, it has been some Scotlanders coming in here asking us to help with their revolution. I'm sure it can't happen at oh, wait, no, that's what's happening, isn't it?
Yeah, Vickers looks a little awkwardly behind her at the 3 Scotlanders approaching.
It's not Marion that's coming, right? Says Joan from like a corner.
Oh, hello, Cousin Joe. I'm back from the hospital.
Yes, wonderful. I was just on my way down. And she like kind of picks at her teeth and picks at something that she took out and picks it away.
Have you eaten anything else interesting recently? I think one of my last memories was you eating, yes.
Probably better than your hospital food.